You're muted, Amber.
Thanks. That would be a great start to unmute. Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. Zoomers, thank you so much for coming on live. Now, the best way you're going to get the best experience is actually on Zoom. So I've got Facebook Live, I've got Instagram Live, but the best way you're going to get the most out of this is actually on Zoom. So we're going live in the Superconscious Entrepreneur community. I just want to welcome you all here today. I'm very, very excited to get started and show you this incredible work, this super conscious way of living. Who here is excited? Give me some ones if you're excited. I'm so, it just comes from my heart to be here and sharing this incredible work with you today. So if you haven't already, jump onto the Zoom call and we'll get started. So the Superconscious journey has been so incredible. The discovery of really finding what you love and rising above and really living the life that you desire. Now, we're going to go through the real fundamental and basics today to give you an introduction to this work. We're going to go live for the next 5 days. Now, I know there's some of you that also wants to have the replay. So there's going to be, you might be watching it on the replay, you might be here live, but wherever you're tuning in from, just know that when we actually create a recording of this work, we create this morphogenic field. So it doesn't matter if you're here live or if you're tuning in on a replay, you know, on the other side of the world, or, you know, months down the track. We create this morphogenic field, which actually creates this, the power. It's this container that's held within this space, and it is just as powerful. This work has changed the lives of so many, not just my clients and my personal transformation, but also those of Chris Duncan, the founder of Magnetic Mind, and all of the other coaches that are doing this work. We get so much feedback from clients of major health transformations, you know, relationships, people earning more and more money in this work. So there's so many reasons why we don't have what we want in our life. There are so many reasons why you continuously, you know, work through the system and you just don't get what you want in your life. We're just in this continuous cycle of, you know, working hard, but why do we not ever get what we want in our life? And one of the main reasons is we're trying to create this outcome, and we still don't have it, right? And there's 3 main reasons why we don't have what we want. The first reason, and we're going to go into depth around this work. The first reason is we're actually in this problem-solving structure, right? We're in this problem-solving structure, and structure has integrity. So we're working from this wrong structure. We also give our power away. We're trying to heal our current reality. Instead, we must just let it go. Other mistakes that we make is that we think that we need to change in order to get a different result. We need to change ourselves. We need to change our identity. You must be it before you see it, right? Other mistakes we make is that we're actually out of emotional alignment with what we want. We can't grow an abundance forest planting seeds of scarcity. right? We follow these natural laws. So we're not, some of the mistakes we make is we're not actually following these natural laws. We're not going for what we love. We're not actually following through with what we're going for. And we're holding on to the past as though it's real, right? So the next 5 days is going to be a journey. It's going to be a journey, and we're going to go in depth into the first day. It's going to be all about structure. It's going to be the foundations of this work. We're going to discover the superconscious orientation and how to actually magnetically manifest. We're going to go through the 5 steps. This is going to build your foundation of understanding of the superconscious work. Tomorrow, day 2, we're actually going to solidify your unique thumbprint. We're going to find what you love and help you make true choices. What is an end result? What do you actually love? We're going to go into your genius and find what you actually love, your true identity. Day 3, we're actually going to use the magnetic alignment formula to actually discover the life that you love. And day 4, you got to stick around for at least day 4. We're going to actually give you an experience of the superconscious recode. So we're going to give you this experience of the brain actually recoding itself. This is the fastest way to remove your blocks and limits. And I'm going to take you through the exact process that I take my clients through. And then day 5, I'm going to go through the 5 steps of Superconscious Creation Code and give you a plan. So if you want to delve into this work even deeper, obviously 5 days isn't a lot of time in this work. And so I'm going to give you an opportunity to actually get even more deeper and apply this work to your life and give you a 12-month plan to get there. So how does that sound? Is everyone excited? We've got 5 days together, whether you're coming on live or you're joining the replay. I want to welcome you. And a little bit about me. So I played by the rules. I went to uni. I did what society actually had told me I had to do. I went to uni. I followed the society norm, what you're meant to do, right? Like you go to uni, get a job. I had a corporate job. I was, working the corporate ladder, and I did everything that society told me I had to do, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't getting what I want. I didn't have the life that I wanted. And so there was a line in the sand moment when I was in my corporate job, and I just realized, I kind of woke up to, what the hell am I doing? I'm working late hours. I'm not getting much pay. I still don't have what I want. What is it that I actually want? I had this mental breakdown of, what the fuck am I doing with my life, right? And that actually led me into an opportunity that introduced me to some energy work. This was forensic healing. And I'd never really heard of this kind of work before, despite growing up quite spiritual in a spiritual family, but didn't really know what it meant. I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to apply my curiosity to this work. And so I delved into forensic healing. I got certified. I discovered this world of deep transformation. And this work, the forensic healing, actually helped me to learn to love myself, learn to love my life. And so I then became obsessed. I started doing so much research, listening to podcasts, reading books. I was just obsessed with learning about this work. And I was obsessed with trying to find, improve myself, improve my learning, improve myself. And I was just obsessed, and I kept going. I actually ended up quitting my corporate job, moving overseas to start up this business as a healer. And I just kept going. And everywhere I looked around me, I I noticed everyone else was winning. Everyone else had their businesses. They had clients coming in. They had all of these things happening for them, but yet I still couldn't quite make it work. And I was like, why? Why couldn't I make this work? I was doing all the things. And I was doing the meditations. I was doing hypnotherapy. I was doing all of these things to try and create that perfect environment so that I can, have that success. And I just kept struggling. I kept trying and trying and trying and trying, and I couldn't quite get it. I would get a little bit of success but I couldn't quite make it stick, right? So I kept going, and it wasn't until I found Chris Duncan's work, right? The Superconscious work with magnetic mind. Now, he's done so much personal development, gone through the journey himself. And it really wasn't until he explained to me that that structure was the reason why I wasn't actually getting what I want. I was so obsessed and focused on trying to be someone else that I was completely missing the point. So this is kind of how the structure of reality is. This is how it works, right? Everyone's got a current reality, right? We've got our current reality where we are now, and we're always moving towards, we want to move towards our desired reality, what we want, right? So usually that's money, that's health, and usually relationships, right? And this is what we want. This is where we are. This is what we want, right? This is usually the structure of how anything is set up. And what we say is that, well, what does that actually mean? So if I've got money, I want health and relationships, where am I now? So here, I'm probably broke. I'm tired and I'm lonely, right? So usually if you want something, it's because you don't, you're trying to avoid something here. So you change yourself. So you set up this structure, right? And we say, well, if I have that, then life is going to be better, right? Life's going to be better. Once I have all of these things, life is going to be better. And so what we say inherently, we're saying, well, this sucks, right? If this is going to be better, then this is worse. And so we set up this structure that, well, now's worse. I want to change to something better. But what does that actually mean? Well, what we're actually saying here is a feeling, right? When I have money, I'm going to feel in abundance. When I've got good health, I'm actually going to feel vital. And when I'm in a relationship, I'm going to feel loved, right? I think everyone can relate to something here, right? So it's the feeling. This is how I actually want to feel. And so what we're actually saying here in the current reality is that, well, I'm not feeling that. So here I'm feeling, scarcity. And I'm feeling fear or overwhelm, right? I'm feeling uncertain about how life is. We're feeling we fear being alone, right? We're guilty. Oh, I haven't lost the weight. I'm feeling guilty. You might feel abandonment, right? So, but this is what we're setting up, and this isn't equal. These are different, right? These are different feelings, emotions, right? And what we're actually saying here is that this is an identity. And this identity is different to this. And so as we want to change, right? We want to move. So as you start moving from this into this, you start doing stuff, right? You go to the gym, or you start working on your business, or you start, dieting, right? And as you move towards the thing, move towards what you're choosing to create, you create this identity, right? As you start moving, this identity starts feeling a little bit better, right? It starts moving, you start dieting, you might lose a little bit of weight, you might start making a little bit of money, right? So you start moving. And as you move towards this reality, this identity realizes that, oh, it has to change. And you've spent your entire life coding up this identity. You've spent your entire family history, ancestral lineage. It's in your DNA that your identity is part of you. And so this identity is so strong that actually it doesn't want to change. It doesn't want to change. And so it gets to a little bit of health, a little bit of a relationship, but then it throws up what we call this resistance. So it throws up unhappy thoughts and feelings to actually stop you from reaching this identity. Because if it was to actually have the abundance and feel loved, then this identity would have to die. And it doesn't want to die because it's part of you, right? So it stops you. It's like, oh no, you're not good enough for that. Who do you think you are? You can't have that. You don't deserve it. You've never had that before. Do you really want that? Right? And it stops you. It's this resistance. It's negative thoughts and feelings that actually stop you from taking that action and moving forward. Yeah. So what happens here? Where does your focus go? Because we're focused on that. And then we actually take our focus, because this negative thoughts and feelings make you feel really bad and overwhelmed and in fear and uncertain. And we say, oh, I've got to fix this. I've got to fix this part of me. I've got to feel more abundant. I've got to feel more certain. I've got to fix this. I've got to be less tired. We take our focus back here to resolve and fix how we feel uncomfortable, right? And so what do? You get more education. You do another meditation. You do another webinar. We do all of these things to try and fix and resolve how we feel incomplete. So we do that, and guess what? We feel better. The meditation makes you feel better, right? The diet makes you feel better. You go and get some more education, so you feel more capable and you feel good. And this identity says, oh, now I feel good. Now I can go for what I want again. So you do that. You start going for what you want. And then something else comes up, another negative thought or feeling comes up. And so you go to resolve that. You go, oh, now I need some more breath work, or now I need to do this. Now, oh, there's another trauma there. I need to fix my past. I need to find out why this is all happening, and so we try and fix ourselves. Then we find something else and we get more information. We're like, oh, now I feel good. And so you're going to go for what you want again. And you might go that little bit further and you might feel it a little bit. But what you're actually creating here is a new identity. And this identity here says, I can't have what I want. The way I am. This is a brand new identity. I can't have what I desire just the way I am. I have to fix myself. And so every time you go for what you want, this identity is always going to find something else to fix. Who here has experienced this? There's always something else. There's always something else that you'll find that I need to fix. And is this really true? If you think about some of the successful creators in this world, if you think about J.K. Rowling, Michael Jackson, you know, Steve Jobs, were they perfect? Did they fix themselves before actually getting the success? J.F. Kennedy, Lincoln, Gandhi, Mandela. These creators, they were able to have the success, but their focus was on creating. It wasn't on fixing themselves. Lady Gaga still cries before she goes on stage. You know? Michael Jordan, like he was not perfect in the beginning, right? These creators, they didn't focus on what they wanted to fix. They were able to create the success just as they are. And if you think about, there are people that are more successful than you that are completely negative. There are people that are more positive than you that have success. There are people that are, you know, don't have much time in their hands, but they have success. There are people that have less than you, but are able to create that success. Because success isn't personal. Success is structural. But if you're caught in this problem-solving structure, you will continue to oscillate and you won't ever actually get to where you want to go and what you want. You must orientate from a different perspective. It's about the structure. And we think, well, I am in my, this is me. I'm the common denominator in all of this, right? So it must be me. If I can't have this success, I must be broken because I'm the one that has all the failed relationships. I'm the one that can't make the business work. I'm the one that is overweight or always sick. It must be me. I need fixing. We say this to ourselves all the time. But lucky, you're not. The most common denominator is structure, right? It's structure. And so guess what? If we change the structure, you get to change the outcome. Isn't that exciting? So what is a creative structure? What is the success structure? So in any structure, there's always the same ingredients. It's the same recipe in life, right? You're always going to have a current reality. You're always going to have a desired reality, what you want. But instead of the identity, instead of living from this current reality identity of what you only see right now, the identity, we must rise above. We must orientate from the superconscious perspective. We must rise above our current reality. When you rise above the current reality, you get to choose what you want from an unlimited perspective. You rise above, you choose what you want, and you're able to create this reality, this reality, this reality, from a place of unlimitation. Unlimitation, is that even a word? The unlimited perspective, right? We rise above our current reality. We rise above the diagnosis. We rise above the failed relationships. We rise above our current reality. We become infinite source. And from this place, this is where we get to create. This is where we get to choose. And we bring that down. This is where the true power lies, right? This is where the true power lies, when you rise above it and we get to bring it down. You have to be it to see it. What does this actually mean? You have to be it. You have to return to the source code, the infinite source, right? You've got to be it now. Recognize that you are already it. You're already your creation. You're just an earlier version, right? And this takes a little bit of understanding. So I'm actually going to show you how we create. So the human journey. Now, if you are on Instagram or Facebook, you won't be able to see this, but I'm actually sharing screen here. Can you see this? Application. Let me know. Can you give me a thumbs up in Zoom if you can see the screen? Can you see that? The journey to superconscious living. Are you able to see that on Zoom? Just give me a thumbs up. Yeah? Yeah, cool. Awesome. So we start as a pure creative spirit, right? We have it all. Now, I live off this premise that we're this divine creative spirit choosing to have a human emotional, physical experience. So what this actually means is that there's 3 levels of consciousness. I might actually bring pause share. Okay, cool. Can you? So we're a pure creative spirit where we've got these 3 levels of consciousness, right? So in the first level of consciousness, we've got, it's the self-conscious. The self-conscious lives in a polarity and it's limited. This is the self-conscious. So this is the thinking brain. This is your thoughts, and it lives in this polarity. So down here, there's always a light and dark, black and white, hot and cold. You know, there's always an opposite. There's always this polarity. This part of us communicates through our thoughts. So it's the ego mind, it's your thoughts, it's your logical brain trying to work it all out and figure it all out. And we live in this kind of this polarity world where, you know, you've got a hot soup and its equilibrium is to get warm. You've got an ice block and it wants to melt to zero. So it wants to melt to room temperature. So there's always this kind of polarity of, you know, good and bad, right? Evil and the hero. There's this polarity that we live in. So this part of us, this self-conscious part of us, it only cares, this self-conscious part of us only cares about quality of life. It just wants the best, right? So when we create from this part, it's like this pendulum that swings between good and bad. Because we can't have one without the other. So it's this continuous kind of swing between good and bad. So as the self-conscious, your ego wants the best life. It's going for the good. It just wants the best life. You're always going to experience the other end of the spectrum, right? You're going to experience the roller coaster that life is, because we live in this polarity. You can't have one without the other. So when we try to create change from this self-conscious perspective, using our thoughts and logical brain alone, you're just going to experience this pendulum swing, right? So we actually rise above. This is what I was saying, you know, rise above it. Rise above the material physical world. We take our energy and we actually rise above. The next level that we rise to is the unconscious. Now, some people call this the subconscious, but in this work, we actually call the unconscious. So this part of you it communicates through your feelings. So your emotions. This part of you it has one job. It only cares about your life. It wants to keep you alive. This is the balance. This is the balance point. It's the balance point of the fulcrum of the pendulum that swings. So this part of you is like the fight or flight or freeze response. It's automatic. You don't have to think about it. It's literally there. It's been with you since the womb. It has started to develop all of these programs that and memories that keep you alive, right? So you don't have to relearn what a road is and what a car is. You actually know. You know, it's part of us. We need this part of us to actually operate in this world. Otherwise, you'd be waking up like a newborn baby, learning about how the world is, how to walk, everything. I think there's a movie on that, right? So we need our unconscious to keep us alive, to keep us safe. The only problem here is that when we try to create change from the unconscious, it doesn't like change, right? It just always brings you back to this happy medium. Wherever your balance point is with love, wherever your balance point is with relationships or money, the unconscious knows this set point, and everyone's different. So it will only allow you to experience what that balance is. So it might not be really, really rich. It might not be super poor. It might just be in the middle, just getting by just enough. You might experience this with love. You know, you can only reach a height in a relationship, and then you sabotage it. You know, you're only allowed to come to this balance point of experiencing just enough. You might get a little bit, you know, on this side, but then you also experience the pendulum, right? So the unconscious is the balance point. It's your set point of, you know, what is safe for you to experience. So because this part of you doesn't want to change, it's really hard to create that change quickly. So what we actually do, we continue to rise. We rise above our emotions, right? We rise above into the superconscious field. Superconscious field is infinite information, right? It's infinite info. This is a field of many other fields in the unified field. It's a perspective, right? And so when we rise above into the superconscious field, you actually get to experience everything. You experience everything. It is everything. It's all of the emotions. It's all of the thoughts. It is every experience that you could have. And so we rise above our human experience into the superconscious field. This is where we get to choose from an unlimited perspective. From anything is possible. It's an unlimited possibility cloud, right? But we don't live up here. We don't live here, because if we were to live in the superconscious field, it would be like going to a restaurant and ordering all the food that ever existed in the whole world, right? It just wouldn't be enjoyable because it's everything. We actually choose to come down and have a human experience in this limited perspective so that we can actually experience something. We get to experience this limitation, right? And we do that by the choices that we make in our life. We're an identity, we're an individual. We make our own choices about every single part of our life. Every second of the day, you're making an individual choice that is different to someone else, right? We're having this choice. And this brings me back to the individuation process, right? So we are this pure creative spirit, but we choose to have a human experience. So we become an individual. We're born, we've got this limited perspective, and we have to make sense of the world, right? So we orientate to the world from this limited perspective, that I'm an individual. I need to, in order to get what I want, I have to do something. Like a baby cries if they want something, right? So we learn to become this limited perspective. We learn we learn about the world, and we create this individual experience. We become wounded. We make up these beliefs about ourselves, and we're actually going to go deep dive into these beliefs tomorrow. But they're the beliefs that I'm not worthy. You know, I'm not worthy to have the milk. I'm not worthy to have what I want. As a child, we start to create these beliefs about ourselves. We create this life that we're making sense of the world around us. And this is just part of the individuation process, is part of this wounding, this limited perspective. So we learn to not be worthy. We learn to not be good enough. We learn to be insignificant. You know, I'm not getting enough attention. And for me, one of my biggest core woundings was, yeah, I'm not good enough. And so my mum had to have another child. And so my brother came into the world, and I was like, oh, well, I'm not worthy of just, you know, I can't just be the only child. I have an older sister too, right? Middle child syndrome. But you find that not all middle children have the same perspective. They orientate differently, right? We make associations about what happens in our life. And as a child, it comes from these core woundings. I'm insignificant. I'm not capable. You know, I don't belong. The I don't belong wounding is one of the biggest ones, that it's part of, you know, the need to belong. is a core wounding. And so what do? We learn all of these limitations. We become limited. And we create this life to resolve our limitations. And this is how we create this oscillation. Right? We create this oscillation. We go back and forth. We try to fix ourselves. We come through the individuation process, and we come through our life, and this is how we orientate to the world. We see the world. I'm not good enough for anything because I wasn't good enough for my mother. She had to have another child, you know. It's so logical. It's so, you know, it makes it, but we don't walk around thinking that, right? It's unconscious. All of this, your identity, everything is unconscious. Because your unconscious perspective comes into play, you know, when you're in the womb. It's already at week 4 when the heart starts beating. That's when you're already learning to be an individual. You're already learning about the world through your emotions, through the emotions of your mother, through the emotions of your father, your family. You're already starting to learn these woundings, right? And so it's inherent. And you live your life orientating from this perspective. And you live your life in this oscillating structure where you're continuously trying to make you feel complete, right? So where's the shift? Where's the shift? You continue, when you want to get out of this oscillating cycle, there's a shift, right? This is the shift. If you're watching this right now, you're at that point. You're at the shift point where you're this powerless, self-conscious, victim to circumstance orientation. You're making the shift. This is where you connect into your superconscious. You decide to become the creator of your life. You decide to live the 4 core orientational choices, right? The 4 core orientational choices. This is the start. This is the beginning of this shift. The 4 core orientational choices, which we'll go through in depth tomorrow, we consciously get to choose. We consciously get to choose from an unlimited perspective. We choose to live a life that I love. I choose to be healthy and vital. I choose to live my true nature and purpose. And I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. When you choose to orientate your life from this perspective, you start to take back your power. You start to realize that you are the creator of your life and you're choosing to have this self-conscious perspective. Once you start choosing from these orientation, we'll go back to this. We recode all the instructions that create resistance to having it all now. So we recode all of the resistance, all these negative thoughts and feelings to having it all now. So that you're truly living the 4 core. The 4 core are your foundational basic choices. Once you start to live your 4 core, you become a powerful, superconscious creator of your reality. You get to choose, right? And you use your superconscious insight to make true choices. And we're going to go through your true choices tomorrow. When you choose to have what you love, you recode all the resistance and follow through turning your thoughts into things, and you become that superconscious creator. So this is a journey, right? And you've just begun. So I actually want to show you as the creator. So coming back to you're already it, right? What does that actually mean? The creative source. If any of you know, is in this work and have heard of quantum physics, because this is the field that we work with, it actually all comes back to energy. And there's this experiment called the double slit experiment. And I urge you to, go and Google search the double slit experiment. But what they did, this is like quite a while ago. What they did was, it's like they shone this light. It was like a torch, you could say. And they had this wall that had two slits in it. So just two holes. And they shone the light through the slits. So what they realized, that it was like a photon, like a real molecule. And then they had photogenic paper on the other end, right? So they shone the light through here, and it would go through the slits like a torch. And what you would expect, that it would come out, and the photographic paper would create two kind of images. That was, it makes sense, right? There's nothing crazy about that. You shine the light through two holes. On the other side, you're going to have two holes, right? So what actually, like, there's nothing crazy about that. That makes sense, right? But what happened next is that when they left the camera going, they left it going. And what happened, we had the same, so it was the same experiment. But what they noticed, what they observed when they actually walked away from the experiment. So this is what happened when they were observing the experiment. But what happened when they were, let me just go back to this. What happened when they actually stepped away from the experiment was something really interesting. Yes, they had the two main slits, but what they actually noticed is there were actually also multiple slits, like kind of like a waveform all throughout the entire paper. So it wasn't just the two slits, it was actually an array of that was stained on the photographic paper. What does this actually mean? This means that the act of observation turns it from a wave into a particle. So here, the photon is just like a particle, right? It makes sense. The particle is going to create a stain on the paper like that. But when the act of observation, when that was taken away, when the conscious observation was taken away, the photons started behaving differently. They started behaving like a wave. And it was evident on their photographic paper, right? And this is what is a photon? They started doing this with like atoms and molecules and all of that, and it still had the same outcome. But when you think about it, how does this relate to how I live my life? We are molecules, we are atoms, we are photons, we are light. When you break us down to the smallest molecule, that's what we're made up of. You might think that this is solid, But if you break the substance right down to the smallest molecule and of an atom and break it down, this is what we find. So we are, we're consciousness observing ourselves into reality. We literally, we're this probability cloud. So we're this wave of probability, we're in wave form. And as soon as you put observation to it, consciousness, right? That's when it goes from a wave to a particle, right? So when you rise above, we go from a particle, right? When you rise above, you become the wave. You become that probability cloud. And then with your conscious observation, you actually get to bring that down into reality with what you're choosing to focus on. Your superpower is your focus. Your superpower is your consciousness. And when we put our consciousness in the right structure, you literally can create anything you want. And we're choosing to have this human experience, right? We can't live in this probability cloud. This is the ocean, right? You're a drop in the ocean. We're not the ocean because we can't experience anything up here. You're a drop in the ocean. You've got a tiny ocean inside of you. You are a tiny ocean. You've got all the information that you need to create anything that you want. And we choose to have this human experience so that we get to experience something, a limitation, right? And so we bring that down through the heart field, through our emotions. And that brings us through how we do this, right? There's 5 steps. 5 steps to superconscious creation. 1, choose. Choose an end result. Choose something that you would love, an end result, right? You need to choose. Make a choice. 2, get into the emotion of the end result. When you get into the emotion of the end result, you actually change the balance point. Remember? So we change the balance point. You get into the emotion of the end result and you change the balance point, right? You want to choose from an endless probability, endless, infinite information, right? We go into the emotion of the end result. We change the set point so that you're able to actually experience more than you have before, right? Step 3 is create structural tension. Structural tension, this is when we choose what we want to create. We create structural tension by saying, well, where am I now? What's my current reality, right? When you create structural tension between these 2 points, you create this energy flow, you create this connection, and energy flows through the path of least resistance, right? So you've got to create these 2 points. If you've got water that runs down a hill, right, it's going to run down between the banks. If you put a boulder in the way, the water is going to run around it because it's the path of least resistance, right? We want to create this this path. If you don't choose what you want and you don't know where you're going and you don't create those 2 points, the structural tension between those 2 points, then the path of least resistance could be anything, right? So we want to create that tension. It's like a rubber band, right? These 2 points between a rubber band, they seek to resolve. The universe will always resolve in favor of where you want to go. Structural tension, getting into the creative structure is so important. Step 4, we're going to do this on day 4, is recode resistance. So when you pull that rubber band, you're going to feel resistance, right? You're going to feel the resistance that pops up, those negative thoughts and feelings that stop you from actually moving. It's the boulder that we put in the way to keep us safe so that we don't actually experience something we've never experienced before, because that's unsafe, right? We create this resistance. We create these unhappy thoughts and feelings to stop us, to keep us safe, right? But we get the information of our choice. We get the information and we choose to recode, right? So the resistance is the force that your identity creates to oppose something that it thinks is unsafe, because it's afraid. It doesn't want to change, right? So we invite the resistance to be present in the energetic field and we recode it. We go through this process of recoding, which we're going to actually experience in day 4. So we recode, and step 5, take aligned action, right? We can't just sit and meditate our way into creation, right? We're always moving. We've got to take action. And when you remove the resistance that stops you, it's just easier to take action. When you know what you want and it's aligned with your heart and your true soul's calling, it's easy to take that aligned action, right? And when you think about life, we love a challenge. We love a challenge. We don't watch a movie and everyone's in love, there's 2 people and they're in love and, they just have a really happy life. We wouldn't watch that movie because it would be boring. We'd get bored pretty quickly, right? We love a challenge. We love the resistance, the hero's journey, overcoming a challenge, overcoming that resistance and coming out the other end and, growing, because it's like a tree. You're either growing or you're dead. You're growing or dying. It's like our life. If we don't have a challenge to keep us growing, to keep our attention, moving forward, we get bored really easily, right? We always want that next thing, that next best thing. So this is the 5 steps, and I'm actually going to take you through this journey over the next 5 days. We're going to find exactly what you love. We're going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to teach you how to actually make a true choice. What is an end result? We're going to step into your heart, your emotions, and actually feel that and find that. I'm going to go through this journey with you over the next 5 days. Who here is still with me? Who's excited to actually step into their true power and find what they love? Who's ready to actually let go of their limitations and to focus on their end result and choosing to create? Who's ready to take back their power? Yes, me, loving it. Who's ready to step into their super conscious orientation and create the life that they love? And you can't do it on your own, because you've been doing it on your own for so long. This is why you need a community. This is why you need people around you. This is why you need a coach. This is why you need structure in your life, so that you are supported, so that you are able to just focus on your end result. And the etymology of a coach actually comes from the horse and cart days, where you had like the horse, and then you had the cart, and like the horse on the back of the cart, you had the coach. On top of the cart, you had the coach. And the coach actually helped to steer the horse. So having a coach is someone outside of your situation, which actually allows you to continue to your end result and stay on track and succeed quickly, right? It's not about giving you advice or telling you what to do. It's actually keeping you in the creative structure and removing any of the resistance that stops you from moving forward. This is about helping you be your best self, holding you to your highest potential, even when you think you can't do it. I will hold you to your highest potential. I will ask more of you than you ask of yourself. And can I have permission? Is that okay? Can I have permission to be your coach for the next 5 days? Do I have permission to be your coach and take you through the 5 steps and show you the superconscious orientation and how to live a superconscious life? Right? Yes. Thumbs up. Amazing. Well, that concludes day 1. We made it. We've already been here for over an hour now. Thank you so much for sitting through this and learning the foundations of this work. It really is important to get the foundations so that you're actually able to start getting into the right structure. So this is it for today. We're going to be together for an hour every single day, the same time all week. So super excited for that. If you have to watch the replay, I know we've gone through a lot today, so I'm going to put the replay up. You can have a look at again, go through this work again, and I'll see you tomorrow, where we're actually going to drop into our heart and find what you love. Hope you're ready for that. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you. And if you're not already, jump into the Superconscious Entrepreneur community. This is where all the value's at. And today's challenge, all right, today's challenge, I want you to give me your top 3 takeaways from today. What did you learn today? I want you to post it in the Facebook group, in the live stream video. I want you to post what are your top 3 takeaways today that you that you want to share and you're going to take on moving forward. What are your top 3? All right, amazing. Enjoy your Monday. It's day 1 complete. We've got 4 more days. Super excited to continue this journey with you, and we'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye Facebook, bye Instagram. Love you all.